Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakah Kwadash. And double honors to the head apostles of the great millstone that taught me this truth, and including the bishops on down, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Brakatham, to the elect, 144,000, and as well as the 1/3 that are following. And it's your brother Laban once again. And I want to begin by reading the book of Isaiah 47 and verse 2. Take the millstone and grind mill, uncover thy locks. Make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. And the meaning of that is in verse 3. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen, and I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. So what is there to be ashamed about? The wickedness that they've been doing in secret. You know, we know about the cremation of care that they do in Sonoma County, Georgia, California, if I'm correct, where they worship this 40-foot owl and, they sacrifice souls. And then we also know about, how they get it into the different various forms of witchcraft, and as well as, the adrenochrome thing. Okay. But let's just take it somewhere else. When we're talking about secret intelligence agencies from the West, we know that now we have a plethora of information that has been gone out throughout the years about how, the CIA was involved in this group and that group. And these are all groups that we've heard about and been told by the media to watch out for as the boogeyman. Okay. And, we all know these names. Like, if I bring these names out, you're going to know these names. Okay. And just like I said, all of this has been brought out. Like, I'm not making this stuff up. Like, all of us pretty much know about these famous known groups. Okay. And as well as this group as well, which this individual brought it out, which one of the brothers have brought it out from GMS New York, GMS Watchman, and he just allowed this guy to speak. He basically just told it all. He went to go telling, and he basically brought it out the way he brought it out. So that's just that right there about this Hamas group. So anyway, this reads, Israel war. Biden administration gave money to Hamas-linked groups. President Joe Biden's decision to restart aid programs for Palestinians have drawn fresh criticism this week, and amid questions about how Hamas, the Palestinian terrorist organization in control of the Gaza Strip, acquired the resources to launch an attack on Israel. And you got to question where they getting these resources from. Plus, there's been an article that has come out on how America has been involved by supplying weapons on both sides. All right, just to bring that out on a brief. Biden has pledged hundreds of millions of dollars towards Palestinians since taking office, reversing a decision by former President Donald Trump to cut off nearly all aid to Palestinians, in part because of concerns about Hamas influence. Whether U.S. aid to Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank ended up boosting organizations linked to terrorism remains a key question after Hamas fighters killed more than 1,000 Israelis, most of them civilians, in a surprise incursion into Israel on Saturday. And just to mention as well, the Israeli powers told the Israeli military to back down on Hamas. So why would they do that for? If Hamas is coming to invade the city with explosives, shouldn't the military get involved and step in front of these guys? But no, rather they've been told to step aside, stand down, excuse me. So again, that's something to question. Again, just briefly bringing that out there as well. Less than a month before the attack, a Biden administration watchdog has warned that there was not enough transparency surrounding the influx of funding that Biden approved for Palestinians starting when he took office in 2021. And that's all I'm going to read right there. So if 100 million was provided to the people of Palestine or the Palestinian government itself, we would have saw some changes surrounding what's going on among the people. But we haven't seen that from the time of J. Trump to the time of the Biden now administration. So most of that money got to be going to certain organizations that they're behind. Let's even read this article as well. You know what? I tell you what, before I read this article, let's read some more of this scripture over here as well. Let's read this. It says, to take mill and grind mill, uncover thy locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thighs, pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered. And yea, thy shame shall be seen, and I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. So before Yahushua meets this devil as an angelic force, this man will be exposed on every level. And thanks to the power of the internet, that job is being done. Hence is why this individual, Jay Rockefeller, he was in his court, and he basically said, I think he's Jay Rockefeller, right? But he also said that the worst thing that we could have invented was the internet, because the internet basically exposes them as a whole. The internet was really designed and made to expose what people are doing. But rather that, the quite contrary has been going on. And that's why he made that statement. If I could find that video, I'll put it on post-production. You know, so yeah, they're being exposed. And it's really through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai that's controlling this whole internet thing, man. Which really, the internet, the computer, is nothing more than the Urim and the Thummim. The Urim and the Thummim, which means perfect lights. As well as the Levites used to have to expose wickedness that was being done in secret or hidden. So it would come out on the perfect lights. So yeah, this is where we are at in the year 2023, bumping up to 24. Everything that these devils are doing is being exposed, man. And that's why you have these articles coming out. So speaking of articles, let's read this one now. The People's Voice. This guy brings out a lot of good stuff. So this reads on, Biden's regime secretly funneled $75 million to Hamas days before attack. The Biden regime secretly funneled Hamas $75 million a few days before their attack on Israel, and after learning that a terrorist attack was imminent. Wow. The money was quietly funneled to them in a quiet move that was completely overlooked by Republican lawmakers. The U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken approved the release of $75 million in funding for Hamas-controlled Gaza. Blinken diverted the cash to Hamas just hours before the funds were set to be redistributed. The move was hushed with little attention in early October, just days before Hamas launched its terrorist attack against Israel, slaughtering, raping, and kidnapping hundreds of innocent civilians. However, the funding was approved after the U.S. government learned that Hamas was likely planning an up-and-coming attack against Israel. So, again, this is just information that's being brought out. And by the way, CNN kind of revealed that. Not kind of, but CNN revealed that the U.S. already knew, and as well as Israelis knew what they were going to do. Let me see if I could bring that out as well. Okay, here it is right here. U.S. intelligence. Accept all. U.S. intelligence warned of the potential for violence days before Hamas attack. So they knew about it, man. And I said that, days prior, a week prior, I said that if something happens on a great scale, right, the prime ministers are going to know about it, man. So they already knew what was going to happen before they even did what they did. So again, I say this ain't me writing anything down to read it to you. This is information that's been written by other people that's actually done their due diligence, and I'm just reading it basically. Okay, so it is what it is. Again, this is going back to on how the Lord is exposing this devil, because sometimes it got to take the devil to expose the devil. But most of the times, because I mean, who knows the devil than the devil himself? So you're going to have devils exposing the top devils. And this is what's happening right now. So anyway, however, the funding was approved after the U.S. government learned that Hamas was likely planning an up-and-coming attack against Israel. Blinken's decision came after months of pressure from Democrat lawmakers and dozens of civil society groups. They warned that blocking the aid would create a humanitarian disaster for over 1 million Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank, which really we knew it went to. It went to the H group. That's where it went to. And as well as the money as well. We know this. All right. So this is the thing, man. Like, it's very clear to see what's really going on, man, out here. It's been clear, and it's much more clearer now. Especially to the servants, the prophets, man. Like, we're just like the angels on high that see everything, that behold the evil and the good. That, as it is written, that among men fear the eyes of other men, but not knowing that the eyes of the Lord, which are the angels, are 10 times brighter than the sun, looking into the most secretest parts. So that's how the servants, the prophets, are going to be. Our eyes are going to be just as open to the point of where we can see right through everything, man. Because we are angels in physical form on the right hand side of the Heavenly Father. So just like the angels see things in secret, we also see things in secret too. And it's for us to report on these things. Again, let's read some more. Isaiah 47:3. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered. Yea, thy shame shall be seen, and I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. As for our Redeemer, the Lord of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel. So that's all we need. So once again, as I'm going to say, this proves that Yahweh Shai is on his way. This devil is being exposed all the time. Every little thing that this devil does is just being revealed, man. And the true revelation really begun by the prophets, beginning with our elders that came before us. They really brought the true revelation of who the devil is and taught us that. That's why we give double honors to our elders that came before us, as we've entered into other men's labors, which is their labors. Okay, so anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read another precept, and it's going to be in the book of Luke, chapter 12, verse 2. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. Therefore, whatsoever ye have spoken in darkness shall be heard in the light. And that which ye have spoken in the ears in the closet shall be proclaimed upon the housetops. And speaking about the light, how it's being revealed in the light, is being revealed on the Urim and the Thummim, which are these phones, and as well as your computer. Okay? So this is where we at right now. This devil is being exposed. Even the devil is exposing the devil. Like I said earlier before. All right? So there's no escape. You can't escape being exposed, Esau. And I'm really primarily talking about these devils at the very top, man. I'm not talking about these miniature devils at the bottom that's struggling out here. I'm talking about the guys that's really pulling the strings, man. The puppeteers I'm talking about. But the puppeteers have already been seen. So now, let's go back. Let's go up and read this over here as well. I think it's in verse 19, man. No, it's got to be here somewhere. Yeah, verse 22. It was right in front of my face. Jeremiah 13 and verse 22. And if thou say in thine heart, wherefore come these things upon me? For the greatness of thine iniquity are thy skirts discovered, and thy heel made bare. So Esau is being made bare. All of that hidden wickedness is being revealed. is what they're ashamed of, or should be ashamed of. And just like this guy brought out, man, the brother GMS Watchman put it out there, how this individual basically exposed that Hamas was formulated by Israel.
The Palestinian militant group Hamas has carried out brutal acts of terror against Israeli civilians, and Israeli and American leaders are always keen to tell us how dangerous and evil Hamas is.
The inhumanity of Hamas.
I have no sympathy for Hamas.
That keep shelling Israel with thousands of rockets and mortar shells.
But what if I told you that Israel helped create Hamas? Officially, Hamas, which is the acronym for an Arabic phrase meaning Islamic Resistance Movement, was founded in 1987, at the start of the first Palestinian Intifada, or uprising against the Israeli occupation. But its roots were planted much earlier. The Hamas founder, Sheikh Ahmed Yassin, was a half-blind, disabled Palestinian cleric and member of the Muslim Brotherhood. The Brotherhood had been repressed by the Egyptians in Gaza prior to 1967. But once the Israelis invaded and occupied the Strip, they didn't just turn a blind eye to these Islamists, they encouraged them. See, the Israelis, especially right-wing Israelis, wanted to undermine the power of the dominant Palestinian political force at that time, the nationalist PLO, at the heart of which was the secular Fatah party of Yasser Arafat, their bête noire.
بغصن الزيتون في يدي وببندقية الثائر في يدي.
By empowering Sheikh Yassin and the Muslim Brotherhood, Israeli leaders thought they could divide and rule the occupied Palestinians, play them off against each other, secular nationalists against religious Islamists. So in 1978, when Yassin wanted to officially register his Islamic Association, which was basically the precursor to Hamas, the Israelis were only too keen to help. Yassin built and grew a network of Islamist social institutions across Gaza, including schools and clubs and mosques, and Israel helped fund some of those projects. Most American politicians have no clue about any of this, although the former Republican Congressman Ron Paul once made this point on the floor of the House.
Hamas was encouraged and really started by Israel because they wanted Hamas to counteract Yasser Arafat.
Arafat himself told an Italian newspaper, quote, Hamas is a creature of Israel. He even claimed that former Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin admitted as much to him, calling it a fatal error. Now, you might be wondering, why should I believe mad Ron Paul or the famously shady Yasser Arafat? Well, you don't have to. You can believe top Israeli and US officials who've basically owned up to all this. Brigadier Yitzhak Segev, for example, who was the Israeli military governor in Gaza and later told a New York Times reporter that he helped finance the Islamic movement. The Israeli government gave me a budget, he said, and the military government gives to the mosques. Colonel David Hakam, who worked in Gaza in the late 1980s as an Arab affairs expert in the Israeli military, has admitted that the original sin was Israeli support for Yassin in the late 70s. But at the time, he has argued, nobody thought about the possible results. Well, Avner Cohen did. Cohen was the Israeli official who was responsible for religious affairs in Gaza for more than 2 decades, and who now says, quote, Hamas, to my great regret, is Israel's creation. Yeah, Cohen's words. He actually wrote an official report to his superiors in the mid-1980s, warning them not to play divide and rule in the occupied territories and calling on Israel to, quote, break up this monster before this reality jumps in our face. But no one else on the Israeli side really took the possibility of blowback seriously at that time. They never do they? Hamas has since killed far more Israeli civilians than any secular Palestinian militant group, and its leaders have been pretty viciously anti-Israeli and even anti-Semitic in their rhetoric.
لن نعترف بإسرائيل.
لا مكان لكم بيننا ولا مستقبل لكم بين الأمم إنكم إلى زوال.
Sheikh Yassin would eventually be assassinated by an Israeli airstrike in Gaza.
Sheikh Yassin and its organization, the Hamas, are responsible to the killings of more than 400 Israelis. So the question shouldn't be why now. I think it should be why not before.
Why not before? Well, because before, Israel was actually nudging and winking at Yassin and co., building them up as a rival to Arafat's Fatah. The die was cast for blowback. Blowback, incidentally, that they decided to double down on when they assassinated Yassin.
You can hear the crowds chanting for Hamas, and any idea that this operation would actually suppress or diminish that organization seems to be ill-judged.
The inconvenient truth is that Hamas is in part a creature of Israel's own making, an enemy that Israel spent more than 20 years helping to build up, and then spent the next 20 years, the past 20 years that is, trying to bomb, besiege, and blockade out of existence. The 3 Gaza wars fought by Israel against Hamas since 2008 killed around 2,000 Palestinian civilians and a dozen Israeli civilians. That's the real human cost of blowback. David Long, a former Middle East expert at the US State Department under Ronald Reagan, told journalist Robert Dreyfus, "I thought the Israelis were playing with fire. I didn't realize they'd end up creating a monster. But I don't think you ought to mess around with potential fanatics. It's a lesson both the Israelis and the Americans never seem to learn, though. And as usual, innocent people, in this case Palestinians and Israelis, continue to lose their lives as a result."
Shalom.